The 13 horror movies that you have to watch in May of 2025 may be the strangest and most awesome set that I've brought to you yet. What's up, cretins? What's up, creeps? My name is Chris. I am the only person talking horror on the internet. Hit the subscribe and save this one. I do one of these every month. From new releases to milestone anniversaries, from holiday celebrations to underseen exploitations, this is your calendar of carnage for Dismay 2025. Yeah, I told you to save that. Now look how smart you look. Okay, so first and foremost, apologies, creeps. April was a busy month. I never forget about you. So let's dive straight in and drive right in on May 2nd for the drive-in release of your first flick, Clown in the Cornfield. If you live in California, Arizona, Nevada, New York, or Texas, you have the opportunity to check out the heavily anticipated adaptation of Adam Caesar's novel 1 week prior to the national release on May 9th. From what I understand, there will be a Matt Ryan Tobin poster available exclusively at these showings, and that poster looks freaking amazing. Let's pack these drive-ins out. I love event screenings like this, and I would love to see more of them. So if you're down to clown with a new horror icon and you can make it happen on the 2nd, go for it. If you're not close enough to a drive-in screening, get out there on May 9th for the nationwide release. You're gonna want to be able to say that you saw it before everybody was a friend of Friendo. If you can't make it to one of those drive-in showings, your plans aren't nil, because May 2nd also marks the theatrical release of Rosario. This one caught me completely off guard as a preview that I caught before Hell of a Summer, and it went straight onto my must-watch list. The film chronicles the titular Rosario Fuentes as she sorts through her grandmother's belongings after her grandmother's sudden passing. She discovers things that she'd probably rather not. Looking to be a culturally forward mix of Hereditary, The Vigil, and The Grudge is good enough for me, so having David Dastmalchian it up in a supporting role will only make it better. On May 6th, you get to stay home to see Paris die in our third movie, the 20th anniversary release of the 2005 remake of House of Wax. So if you've not seen it, that's not a spoiler. I mean, it is, but that's how they marketed the movie. Back in the early aughts, since Paris Hilton was just as abhorred as she was adored, some genius decided to put her in a horror movie because if you hated her, you got to see her die. If you loved her, this is leaps and bounds better than like Bottoms Up or National Lampoon's Pledge This. Yeah, but it's not her best film if you catch my drift. No, why don't you explain it? What is?
The Hottie and the Naughty. Obviously. What do you think I watch while you're doing these?
All right, you got me there. Now, aside from the hook, this neo-slasher about maniacs living in a ghost town filled with wax figures is actually a solid flick. It's entertaining as hell, and it presents plenty of new ideas while still conveying the source material. Further, amongst the onslaught of 2000s remakes, this was one that was actually justified and ripe for remaking. Like, nobody was like, you can't do that. The 1953 House of Wax was perfect. And if you did, fuck you. That movie was a remake of Mystery of the House Museum, and while they're both great, they are not fun like this movie is. Also, shout out to Alicia Cuthbert. Always thought that it sucked that all the marketing was about Paris Hilton and she's like a supporting character of this. This is Alicia's movie. Hopefully this video makes up for 20 years of being overlooked as a top-notch final girl. And hey, on the 9th, make sure that you don't overlook our fourth film for May, the theatrical release of Mugai. Bundjalung for Ghost, Mugai follows Sarah, who's just welcomed her second child. She's quickly convinced that the child is in danger of being taken by a malevolent spirit, there's your movie. So Rosemary's Baby or The Omen, but with Aboriginal customs and traditions in place of Christianity. Yes, it is in English if you are deterred by such things, and it comes from the same producing team that gave us The Babadook and Talk to Me. When Australian movies are on, they are on, and this could be a new classic from them. Double it up with Clown in a Cornfield. Yes, even if you saw it in the drive-in, see it again. Then grab yourself a big scoop of our fifth flick, the 30th anniversary of The Ice Cream Man.
You're really doing this?
Fuck yes, I am. Releasing during the bizarre period of the 1990s when horror had become a parody of itself, but before Kevin Williamson had told us so, The Ice Cream Man hit the straight-to-video circuit with the one and only Clint Howard as a former mental patient dishing out icy cold revenge with a cherry on top. It is ridiculous, it's campy, and it largely falls on Clint Howard's shoulders, and the dude does the heavy lifting even if the movie's not entirely successful. I'll tell you what though, honestly, all you aspiring filmmakers out there, this is not a property that's in demand. Clint Howard is still out there working, as you saw in Terrifier 3 last year. You want to make some waves? Make a good sequel to this movie. I guarantee you can get the rights to it. I guarantee you can sell it. And I guarantee that there is an audience that will watch it. This is an absolute cult camp classic. And while on the topic, coming from arguably the originator of the camp cult classic, Edward D. Wood Jr., on the 11th, we'll be watching our sixth flick, the 70th anniversary of Bride of the Monster. As chronicled in Tim Burton's fantastic biopic, Ed Wood, Bride of the Monster is one of Wood's best known and unfortunately one of his best films.
Why would that be unfortunate?
Because it's one of his best films and it's still objectively terrible.
Fair.
In the twilight of his career, Dracula himself, Bela Lugosi, plays Dr. Eric Vornoff, a mad scientist that's trying to create a race of superhumans. This movie is a piece of shit. I can't stress that enough. But if you loved the Burton flick, why not check into the reason that that film got made? You've been meaning to for like the past 31 years, and to be frank, it's worth it for the octopus scene alone. And from a bride to a mother, let's not forget that the 11th is also Mother's Day. And while there are obvious choices of the original and the remake, I do enjoy the less obvious choices we've seen celebrated in recent years of watching mother-centric movies like Friday the 13th or Psycho. So in that vein, I am going to throw to you the 2009 film Grace as your Mother's Day film. Grace stars Cabin Fever, Death Proof, and Club Dread star Jordan Ladd as Madeline, a pregnant woman that's involved in a car accident that unfortunately claims the lives of both her husband and her unborn child. She insists on carrying to term despite the doctors telling her that her child will be stillborn. Everybody except Madeline is shocked when moments after birth, baby Grace starts crying. That's not a spoiler, that's all within the trailer, and that's all within the first 20 minutes of the movie. Where it goes from there, you can watch as just a crazy kind of movie with a tour de force performance from Jordan Ladd, or you can look at the deeper statements about grief, about postpartum, and about the devotion of a mother to their child. In any case, watch it. Unless your mom doesn't want to. It is her day, you're gonna watch what she wants to watch. Then give her a hug for me. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. From there, we've got a full moon on the 12th, and if you can stay up when it strikes midnight on the 13th, start watching movie number 8, 1935's Werewolf of London, for its 90th anniversary. Preceding The Wolfman by 6 years, this was not only Universal's original werewolf flick, this was the first feature-length werewolf movie ever. Thus, this is also the 90th anniversary of werewolf movies. I mean, I could tell you about the direct influence from this to An American Werewolf in London, or how the more understated approach to wolf makeup here inspired movies like Wolf, and even this year's The Wolfman. But really, when you're the first to do it, you kinda influence everything, right? So see where it all started on the 13th. Awu, draw blood. Then book your ticket now for the movie that I'd wager will take the least amount of convincing to get you to go see this month, as the 16th brings us the first Final Destination movie in 14 years, Final Destination Bloodlines. We all know what these movies are at this point, right? And honestly, there's not an outwardly bad one in the set yet. I would wager heavily that they wouldn't have brought it back without something interesting to say, or at least some new ideas on how to say it. In the very least, we'll get some of the craziest kills of the year. Additionally, it will be horror royalty Tony Todd's final theatrical release following his passing last year.
I can't wait to see it, but that poster is fucking awful.
All the Final Destination posters suck. That won't be our last stop though, as we've got one of the best stay-at-home double features ever premiering on the 23rd. First up, Netflix subscribers will be taking a trip back to Fear Street for the premiere of Fear Street Prom Queen. The fourth installment to the R.L. Stine series takes us back to Shadyside High for prom. An unconventional candidate for prom queen emerges as the conventional candidates get dispatched. So this is the first in the series without a year in the title, but I'll give you the heads up that this movie takes place in 1988. And if you think that that isn't a nod to the fact that the first screening of this was in 1988, well then the truth shall be your curse. A much darker premiere will hit Shudder subscribers that same day, as The Surrender is our 11th film. Another dark, moody meditation on grief, The Surrender poses the question if those few more moments with a loved one would really be worth the consequences of having them back. This looks to be somewhere between Pet Sematary and Talk to Me, but the early reviews have stated this is a wholly unique vision that announces a new voice in writer-director Julia Max. And it honestly looks like she nailed it, right? I'm very much looking forward to traumatizing myself with this one. So after your double feature, I would love to give you a break, but the 24th marks the 30th anniversary of the 1995 anthology, Tales from the Hood. Co-writer-director Rusty Cundiff presents 4 horror stories that address issues that the Black community faces. And yeah, sadly not faced 30 years ago, because many of the issues presented here are sadly still making headlines today. Politics aside, these are very much horror stories in the vein of Creepshow or Tales from the Dark Side, and the wraparound features a mortician named Mr. Sims, who's played to perfection by Clarence Williams III, that serves as narrator. So the movie didn't do well initially, but it grew a cult following over the years, which led to sequels featuring Keith David as narrator in the second, and Tony Todd filling the shoes in the third. But you don't really need to watch those. As alluring as they sound, there's a reason that nobody talks about Tales from the Hood as a franchise.
You know, Tales from the Hood was the first movie that I snuck into.
Really? How'd you like that?
Well, after our tickets got torn, the stupid fuck that I was there with kept on, looking back at the ushers instead of just committing to accidentally walking into the wrong theater. So they knew that something was up. They walked in before the previews even started and brought us to the theater that we were supposed to be in.
So what'd you end up seeing instead?
Mad Love with Drew Barrymore. What? It wasn't that bad. Yes, it was. Fuck.
So all of you in the under 17 crowd, please take note. When we hit the 30th, if you are buying a ticket for Peppa Pig Meets the Baby so that you can sneak into our 13th and final film, Bring Her Back, don't bring along some useless jerk-off that's gonna get you caught, because you need to see Bring Her Back. From writer-directors Danny and Michael Filippo, creators of Talk to Me, comes their sophomore effort, Bring Her Back. After the passing of their mother, a pair of siblings are brought in by a foster mother who also fosters a terrifying secret. The bar is high for the Filippo brothers, but with the continued backing from A24, as well as 2-time Academy Award nominee Sally Hawkins in the lead, Bring Her Back has the potential to be the best horror movie of the year.
There's a lot of grief movies this month.
Yeah, it's Dismay. Duh. So there you go. That's going to do it for today, creeps. Do all these things. Let me know which of these you're going to be watching in May and which ones I missed right over here. And as always, this is all just a matter of opinion. See them yourself, make your own decisions, remain critical. Support horror.